All right, just testing this out. It's been a while since I've done this format of live streaming. I am not a TV show host. I am really tired. I've been up since 3 this morning. It's 5 now. Pretty long day. But there's a lot of good videos out. You know, the shooting over the weekend, the bomber guy, MAGA bomber, being caught, detained. Both these guys are caught and detained, which is kind of interesting. No one was shot. No one was putting their hands up and begging. Just kind of, you know, went out quietly. They're getting their due process. Let me see what's going on. I wonder if the chat is going to work, if I'm going to be able to see people commenting. No one's saying anything yet. Is this being put into private mode? Is anybody there? Can anybody hear me? Is anybody watching? Let me see. Hey, what's up, Mr. Baker? Hey. Oh, there are people here. Okay, so what I wanted to get into was this Young Turks interpretation of the shooter. You know, because they're the left, right? That's how the right-wing people think of them. I'm neither or nor. I'm just, you know, person living, trying to figure this stuff out. But let's see what happens. What's up?
What I like is that there are people out there who are still making up their mind about this guy. Like last week, they're like, you know, he's doing some good things. The economy. Oh, I forgot.
Okay, so
Racist. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, slipped my mind for a while. Yeah.
They were convinced the first couple hundred times. Look, we are going to be talking about Trump, actually, his rhetoric concerning the recent political violence we've seen across the country over the past week. We're also going to talk about the tragic shooting over the weekend. And then not only are we having midterms, which we are, as I said, going to talk about, but Brazil just had pretty big, pretty important election. We're going to talk about that. And in particular, we're going to talk about the likely environmental impact of that election. And then in the second hour, I believe, Francesca, you're going to be rotating out. Brooke Thomas is going to be joining us. An awesome hour for you there as well. But, you know, we're going to make the most of you while we can.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily open with, hey, when does the girl in the middle leave?
When you put it like that, it sounds a lot worse. But I'm happy to give this seat to Brooke. But I really think we should take yours, Ben.
I don't disagree.
Let's do a poll, actually.
Okay.
Tweet me. But lots of important information to get to. We actually don't have much time.
Tell Jew to leave. Anyway, go on.
Okay, really can't win.
Their whole jovial attitude. It's kind of funny. Their whole jovial attitude towards. This weekend, a man killed 11 people in the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. Can you hear me now? I should be much louder than them. Okay. First of all, 11 deaths. I just wanted to make sure it was. Can you hear the audio though? Once I have these settings set, it'll be set forever. So I'm not gonna touch them really ever, except for like when I'm trying to get clips of videos and stuff. But I want to get like a gauge on where it's at. So you can barely hear the voice of the video, which is kind of too overpowering at the beginning. Okay. All right, turn it up some more.
21. Sure. I mean, had lived through that time.
Now we're kind of.
I was initially told that she had been a Holocaust survivor, and then it looks like she was. I think grew up.
All right.
Yeah, in any event, most of them, or a good number, have had to live through not just that experience, and then watching in America as we have gradually become more tolerant of Nazism and those sorts of things, and seeing anti-Semitism being normalized in the media and in one political party. And this is where we're at, where we get historic attacks against the Jewish community. To make it clear, if it wasn't clear enough when this guy went in and shot up the synagogue, as he was injured and shot with police, they managed to take him alive. Weird how in some cases they can do that, and others they can't. They film instantly.
They take him to Burger King or Jack in the Box. I forgot which one it was.
Exactly. For
wherever they took Dylan Roof. Yeah.
Yeah. So they took him, and he said to a SWAT officer when he was taken that he, quote, wanted all Jews to die, and said he had a reason. It was because Jews were, quote, committing genocide against his people. So the people who help spread the white genocide conspiracy theory, some people are apparently listening to that and they take it seriously.
You know, so this guy is obviously,
apparently,
for a host of reasons, has some issues. And, you know, the doctor who treated him, or a doctor who treated him, or at least a doctor who went up to him while he was in the hospital, is a member of that congregation and was working in the emergency ward that night. That may be his primary task. And he went up to him and said what he says to everybody who is, how you feeling? And he was groggy and, you know, and said, but he said he was doing okay. And the doctor said, hey, look, you know, this guy is of limited mental capacity. That seemed clear to me, at least but, you know, and I thought right then that might be used as an excuse by some who are looking to separate this from politics. But of course, that's what the kind of rhetoric that we get, that's who that speaks to, right?
See, I should have told you. You guys naming the Jew, now they're coming after you. Should have been naming the Romans all along. If you would have been naming the Romans, then we wouldn't have this problem. Now you got to switch your optics up. It's kind of crazy. Crazy. I mean, we were just having this conversation. I think Hazard Truth was talking about it last week, that Brendan O'Connell mentioned that, that there was going to be shootings. There was going to be shootings. I said this last year. I said, you know what? Let me pull up the video. I was like, there's going to be a time when, you know, we reach critical mass. The Jewish question is going to be on everybody's mind, you know, pretty much every day. There's going to be an event, and we're going to have to deal with this out in the open. We're going to see what happens. What's crazy is how people are dealing with it. Because, you know, there's a split faction. There's people think that globalist means what the Jews want, you know. There's other people think that Jews want ethno-nationalism. And then it's like, it's hard for people to understand that it could be both in neither. Because they're operating within that very limited framework of those two ideologies. They think they're completely expansive. They encompass the whole entire, you know, scope of the possibilities of what the world could be structured as, but I don't think that's it. And so, like, I try to get into what it might, another way you could think of it, you know, and you know, I get torn down. I don't get a lot of people following me because I say stuff about how I see the world that no one else says. It's like my own thing. No one says what I say. I say it's egalitarianism versus militarism. That's it. If that could be one form of the Hegelian dialectic, that, you know, there will be a synthesis between those two. But I think that's throughout history. If I've been able to look at all of history and classify how I see this whole entire game unfolding, it's always been a battle between egalitarian liberalism versus militarism. And I told this to Brandon Martinez. I was like, hey man, if the society gets too decadent, gets too, you know, out of hand, too much chaos, too much freedom, too much sexing, texting, and loving going on in this free liberal society, there's going to be a military order that comes on top of it. And the last military order that we knew about, no, I won't say it, but, you know, technically it is just fascism. So if you have this corporate rule mixing with these military orders, it's corporate militarism, or what, you know, is known as commonly the military industrial complex. But if you have this other added element of propaganda and, you know, mind control, or I guess acquiescence to certain ideals, then it's like a whole new, like, technocratic development we got going on right now. And it's like, okay, once you understand that as far as systems are controlled, the whole idea of whether or not Jews are the people doing it doesn't even freaking matter. Because if it is Jews that are doing it, how are you going to stop what it is that they're doing? You can't stop what it is they're doing if you're inside of it. It's like trying to explain to a fish what the hell the ocean is, or what the hell water is. You're inside of it. You exist in it. It's your everyday life. You kind of breathe it in. So unless you build another breathing apparatus to get yourself out of it, it's going to be kind of hard. So Let me see what you guys are saying. I can't read your comments. It's all popping up. Handsome Truth, Happy Merchant. Yep, what's up? Oh, this Handsome Truth. You're saying something. It doesn't. You're telling me it matters that they're Jews. It won't matter for your solution. Your solution will be to expel them, and that's part of their plan. So that solution is not going to work. For me, at least, I don't think it's going to work. Hi. All right. Yeah, name the Romans, damn it. You won't get it. You won't get their system. This is the problem. The guy who just got caught, he was naming the Jew. He was mad that people weren't naming the Jew hard enough. He was damn near Patrick Little. Patrick Little's like, I'm not going to stop naming the Jew. He doesn't know what the Jews do. He doesn't know how to classify the Jews as ethno-nationalists. So he doesn't see the hypocrisy in wanting to have or establish an ethno-state. Okay, and then you got the left. Let me go to the actual video that exemplifies what the fuck it is I'm talking about. Because, hold on, I'm not reading the chat yet. It's Kyle Kalinske, he of Secular Talk. I don't know if I saw you there earlier, Handsome Truth. Was it Kyle Kalinske that I saw you doing this? Or, because you gotta follow all these people. You can't follow all the damn, the political conversations happening on YouTube. You know, the CNN and the Young Turks and these people, they matter, but because they talk to, you know, high numbers of people, but they matter to certain algorithms that want to steer popular consciousness in a certain direction. And I feel like it's all going in the same direction towards communitarianism from both sides. So let's go to Kyle Kalinske, what the hell he was talking about. He was talking about how this is getting blamed on the left, you know, of the left, right of the paradigm. The two-party, you know who party is, a boy likes to say. But it's kind of incorrect. It's like this is where you get stuck into the Zionism argument. All right, so let's watch this real quick. It's only 6 minutes.
Managed to pull a both sides false equivalency in reaction to the neo-Nazi terror attack that just happened in Pittsburgh. I know you might not believe me because that sounds extreme, but take a look.
Sir, can you tell us a little bit about what is support or services the Israeli government is providing to the Jewish community there?
Well, in addition to being here, we have a minister who's here today for the event at 5 o'clock. We're also sending Israelis who are specialists in dealing with trauma after these types of attacks. Unfortunately, Eamon, we've had many of these types of attacks in Israel, and we have some very good experts at dealing with the trauma that follows the attack, the trauma of the family members, of friends, and they're going to be arriving tomorrow in Pittsburgh.
I'm talking to you about the political leadership in this country, if they bear and the kind of vitriol that we see directed towards the Jewish American community. You just heard the president there say that people who are chanting in Charlottesville saying the Jews will not replace us, being described as very fine people.
Well, I didn't think that the president's comment after Charlottesville were very good, and I just told you that I thought his comments yesterday were as strong a comments as I've ever heard from any leader, so I'm very glad to hear them. And I think the problem, Eamon, is that when people attribute anti-Semitism to one side of the political debate, they make a very big mistake. Jews have been accused of being capitalists. Jews have been accused of being communists. Jews have been accused of being the biggest dogs. Jews are being accused of being the Jews for centuries. The people who we should blame for anti-Semitism is the anti-Semites. Those are the ones who deserve the blame. This guy who went in and killed 11 people at prayer, he is the one to blame. What I saw from the president yesterday was one of the strongest statements I've ever heard from a leader. And the difference of this president, Eamon, is that he has Jews in his family. So I think there's no question in my mind that he wants to confront the anti-Semites. I hope that people from both sides of the political aisle will put the politics aside and will work together to confront anti-Semitism, which is a growing problem. Listen, Eamon, the President of the United States is not the reason why you have Jeremy Corbyn in Europe, a leader of the Labour Party in Britain, who's an anti-Semite. It's not the problem why you have attacks against Jews in European countries. This
but
is
Ambassador, you're willing to call
and to simply say that this is because of one person, or it only comes on one side, is to not understand the history of anti-Semitism or the reality of anti-Semitism. One of the big forces in college campuses today is anti-Semitism, and the anti-Semites are usually not neo-Nazis on college campuses. They're coming from the radical left. So we have to...
They're not neo-Nazis. They're coming from the radical left. So that's the thing. If you place it into the right or left paradigm, you could put the weight of it on either or one side or the other. The weight of the brunt of this idea, which is like, you know, basically just violence towards a people, force enacted upon a people. You can always weigh it on one side or another, and it's going to matter to one's own perception whether or not that's real or not. You know, it's an abstraction. He had it right. He said at the beginning, he said it was just this guy. This is the guy who's the anti-Semite, right? This is the guy who really hates the Jews people. I hate the term anti-Semite, but you know, that guy, he probably would have self-identified as being an anti-Semite anyways. But it was just him. No one else did anything. But that's how they attack anybody that might somewhat think of those, have those ideas, have those feelings. If you have those feelings and those ideas, you're the same person. No, it's only the people that enact upon them, right? That's the only people you can prosecute for a crime, not people who have ideas or that share a similar cultural background. You have to attack people for what it is they do, not what it is they think or are. And so that's why I say you don't care about them being fucking Jews. They have to be the ones that are criminals. It doesn't matter if you can't say all Jews are criminals, because then if you say all Jews are criminals, somebody could say all whites are bad, or somebody could say all blacks are this, or somebody could say all women are this, or all female. You have to understand the whole principle of not all that is Americanism. Not all. Hashtag not all is Americanism. That's it. That's all America is. Hashtag not all. Means that you can, you know, judge people individually. And they're not going to ever understand this, and they're never going to get past it, because the left is always trying to play the victim card on their side, and that creates another victim on the other side by just simple act of, you know, dividing a line. It's dumb. They're never going to learn. They're never going to learn. What does that mean? This says, guys, you got to get rid of these stupid ass terminologies too. Cucking is the stupidest term ever. It's a fucking useless term. It's a term to dumb down your own speech. It doesn't mean shit. We have to stop using these terminologies they invented. These Cambridge Analyticas and these these technocrats invented to dumb down our language, to make you think that by it not enacting upon a certain belief that you're not doing the right thing. That's dumb. They invented all that language, okay? That's called linguistic determinism. They wanted to steer people through linguistic determinism into certain behaviors, certain actions. So I don't say cuck. I don't fucking say cuck. It doesn't mean shit. Cuck is a person who doesn't say the right thing. Nah, that means you can't think. It's a sign that people cannot think. Them using these damn terminologies. NPC, cuck, libtard. These are categorical representations that mean absolutely nothing. They are absolutisms. They're saying all absolutes. It's like listening to Chris Torsi talk about anybody that doesn't believe me or agree with me is a freaking agent. It's like, how are you going to make that determination? Well, because you don't agree with me. So therefore, you're an agent. It's like, what? No, that's not how reality works. So, like I said, my solution is that Judaism has to end. It can't exist any longer. There can't be such people as Jews. That doesn't mean get rid of Jews. It just means it can't exist as a people. That's the only solution. If you want an absolute solution, there cannot be Jews. Does that mean get rid of people that might have been born to people who historically designated themselves as Jews? No, it doesn't mean getting rid of them. It means they can't exist in a conceptual form. That's the only solution. Otherwise, we're going to run into this over and over again, like they've ran into it over and over again. So it's kind of funny the logical progression of, you know, the solution to this is the ridding of all the Abrahamic religions, which is kind of what the New World Order talked about. That's why I was talking about a year ago when I was talking about humanism. And Bill Cooper even told people that the end result was going to be humanism, all right? Where they get out of this idea of the religious sects, the Abrahamic, three-pronged Abrahamic religion sect, where it's Islam versus Christianity versus Judaism. They're going to have to get rid of that. They want to get rid of it. All the people who actually run the system are atheists, and they know that that's what they need to do. They don't even care about the Jews, the so-called Jews. But these people have been taught a history that isn't really their own. And so they've been repeating it for generations, thinking it's a real history. They've been adding to it and, you know, changing the meaning of terminologies. And so they're learning a history that not necessarily is even their own history. And that's kind of unfortunate, because when I learn about it, I'm like, oh, God, you can tell the average Jew doesn't know their own history. They don't understand, like, even what a Khazar is. That's crazy. That's crazy that a lot of Jews don't even understand what a Khazar is or how their people might have migrated around. They just kind of refer back to whatever the rabbis tell them to think that day, and then that's their reality. I'm just like, people can't be, like, living off of made-up realities, you know? And so I'm like, at a certain point, I don't know if humanity has to give up these made-up religious histories or historicisms, but if we don't, then yeah, this shit's going to continue, and they will fulfill their plan, because their plan is written into a structure as designed to unfold one way, and that's the way it's unfolding right now. But this idea between like Zionism and ethno-nationalism, that is the craziest idea. The idea that, you know, Zionism means ethno-nationalism, but this idea between globalism and ethno-nationalism, that is where I think we lose the plot. That's where people think that there's two sides. Either you're a left and you're for globalism, you're for the destruction of all borders, or you're for ethno-nationalism and you're for maintaining borders. I think that's a fake debate. It really is. It really is. Okay. Let me explain how it's fake. Let's continue watching, though.
To stand against anti-Semitism, whether it comes from the right or whether it comes from the left.
Wow. That was low. You know what he's referring to when he says, oh, these anti-Semites on college campuses, and they're on the far left? You do know what he's referring to, right? People who are fighting for Palestinian human rights. People who are in favor of the BDS movement, boycott, divestment, and sanctions. That's who he's referring to. The far left on college campuses that in his eyes are anti-Semitic. They're the BDS people. You know, we warned you that this was going to be the trick from early on. And I warned you not because I have a fucking crystal ball, but because I had already seen evidence of it. They'd already started doing it. When Chuck Schumer and Hillary Clinton went to IPAC to give speeches, and what did they say? That BDS is anti-Semitic. That's what they said. And they're going all in on this strategy. So they're equating a neo-Nazi terrorist who just massacred people. By the way, many of them were like 70, 80 years old. At least one was in his 90s. He screamed, all Jews must die. This guy's equating that to fucking Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party leader in the UK, and the BDS movement, when the BDS movement says, hey, maybe we should give Palestinians human rights also. That's an I need you to understand something. That's an argument that's made in bad faith. I don't think that he really thinks those things are equivalent, that you can mention those things in the same sentence or the same breath. But he's doing it anyway because it's an attempt to smear. So this is where we're at. This is the political dialogue in the country. And if you think, oh my God.
Yeah, BDS is just like going into a synagogue and shooting people, 90-year-old women. That's one and the same. That is crazy that they will make that argument. And I seen Sticks X and Hammer do that shit this morning. Well, he didn't really do that. I shouldn't mischaracterize him. But he was classifying the guy as a leftist. And I say that the guy, the shooter, was a leftist because all ethno-nationalists are leftists, even though they don't know it because they're collectivists. They think in terms of collectivism. So that's leftist ideology. It has nothing to do with conservatism. But you can use like wordology to like make I guess the collectivism that you're talking about seem like it's freaking, yeah, we're conserving our homeland. No, we're conserving our culture. And then so you can disguise all these like right-wing sort of talking points, conservative talking points, really just mask this overall collectivist fascism, which is I seen a what do you call it, it was some type of meme, and he had like fascism and Nazism and collectivism and leftism all on this left side of the spectrum. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. They don't think of it like that, but you know, Sticks X and was at least smart enough to tell these people that that Richard Spencer's a leftist. Richard Spencer said it himself, but then it's like these terminologies mean nothing in this day and age to a lot of people on YouTube. Like some of the people that are supposedly like the intellectuals, they don't know that that's fucking leftism, collectivism. Now, where it comes in, the right wing is like just the military aspect of it, where it's like, okay, we're going to use you motherfuckers because you're all now collectivized and give you something to fight for. What are you going to fight for? Well, you're going to fight against the Jews, okay? Here's a gun. Or you're going to fight up against drug dealers. Here's a gun. That's what Bolsonaro's going to go do. That's what Duterte does, okay? Here's a gun. Go fight up against drug dealers. Go fight up. Keep your culture normal. That's what you need to go do with your life to maintain and maintain some sort of normality and get rid of degeneracy in your society. Here's a gun. Go shoot up anybody that you think is bad. That's Rome, people. That's where you're at. That's what that is. That's what fascism is all over the world. But people want to be like, well, the leadership, and we need to talk about the leadership. I'm like, I don't need to talk about the leadership. Look out in the street and look at what's coming. Okay? No one's going up into a Jewish synagogue or a bank in Switzerland and taking these people out and like not think that there's going to be 10 other people to keep the system running behind him. You're not going to stop anything that way. So I'm trying to get people to focus on what the hell is actually happening around them so they don't engage in stupid ass behavior that, you know, embolden these people that, you know, are technocrats that want to steer you through propaganda into behaving in a dumbass way. You should be peaceful. You should, you know, care about the certain issues, but I want these people to get into like usury. I want these people to get into, you know, Federal Reserve, you know, fractional reserve banking. I wish we could stop that. I wish somebody asked me like what my political goals are. I'm like, well, a lot of this poverty in the world stems from that fractional reserve banking. And, you know, the idea that we're going to owe these people more money than they give us over time for infinity. You know, it's like they give you $10 and you owe them $20. And then they say that, hey, debt is getting too high. We need to increase interest rates. It's like, come on now. That system is designed to fail. It's designed to make people poor and pissed off. And basically keep people in a proletariat class of people. And now they're going to call it the precariat. That's what the Bilderbergers came up with this new term, precariat. I did a video about this like a year ago, or not a year ago, like months ago on Richard Spencer. I was like, fuck. And how I went into this guy, he went to a Bilderberg meeting and he came out and he was like, yeah, so at this Bilderberg meeting, we were talking about how we're going to give everybody universal basic income. And where did I do that video? But he was talking about how they were going to break up the new classes. And this is technically just Fabian socialism. Here it is. Basic incomes for basic jobs. So this guy, his name is Guy Standing. And he's over here and he explains how the the Bilderbergers were talking about Donald Trump and how they were going to use Donald Trump. And he was talking about his conversation with Henry Kissinger. So all this stuff is planned out beforehand. It's been planned out. There's nothing. I mean, Donald Trump is kind of a reactionary. He's kind of just on the whim reacting, verbally. Like, I don't think verbally, like, he knows what the fuck he's talking about, when he's without his teleprompter. But he has a general idea, like a mobster mentality where it's like, just be loyal to me and I'll do you right. But he's being used by a larger system that he's not really aware of either. But he does have like some basic beliefs that he's going to stand by. But anyway, so he's being used for basically, he's being used to promote communitarianism. He's being used to, push people into ethno-nationalist communitarianism and the moral dimension of communitarianism, because that's what Amitai Etzioni talks about, is how we need to have people develop a moral dimension to their character. So they use these shootings, they use all this terror to get people to think about what's moral, what's right, what's, where's the equivalency in your actions to some other person's actions. And so they can make statements like, this guy shooting a bunch of people in a church is somewhat equivalent to, boycott, divest, and sanctions. It's like, it's not equivalent. It's not at all. But because it's both dealing with Israel and Jews, then it's, made equivalent. There's the equalizer, therefore, is your Jewish identity. And so that's where we come to this idea where it's like any action that's negative towards this certain class of people, whether it be economic or basically physical violence, is both immoral, and they're one and the same. That's crazy, but it's always going to be like that if you have people that exist as groups of people. So our founding fathers knew that. They're like, hey, you can't have groups of people. You can't have one class of people that's above another class of people. That's why we have a republic. It doesn't matter if you're a freaking elected official or you're a mayor or you're a policeman, you're not above the law. We can have citizens arrest in this country where citizens can actually rise up and arrest people that, breaking the law. But that requires that the individual citizen knows the law and knows how to uphold the Constitution. And I've always said this about, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, man. Jesus Christ is a stupid ass name, stupid optics. But first and foremost, they don't understand the Constitution. They don't understand that what they're advocating for is the Eighth Amendment. It's so easy. It's such an easy example to explain why the Constitution is so important. But you have idiots that want to tear down the notion of Constitution and due process and dealing with things in terms of Constitution because they think of themselves as a fucking group. They think of themselves as white. They think of themselves as black. They think of those people as Jewish. Okay? I talk about the fucking Jewish people because they think of themselves as Jewish. I don't think they're Jewish. I think they're just fucking people. That's what I think. I think their religions are bullshit. They're designed to control people and manipulate their mind. So for me to maintain that ideology, I have to say all damn religions are bullshit. I have to say all races are bullshit for us to have a working republic, for us to have a system where you're dealt with by the individual basis, and all actions are equalized on a singular layer. You have to get rid of anything that makes somebody more important than another person. Like it's more important that you protect Jews than it is that you protect a Palestinian. It's more important that you protect white people than you protect black people. If you have that sort of logical positivism built into how you justify your actions, you're going to be creating a caste system. Okay, that's it. That's all going to happen. And so that's what's happening. And so I'm like, how are we going to get out of this? How are you going to get out of this? Well, we don't have to get out of this. We have to go back to the goddamn Constitution. It's just, it equalizes people, and people don't think of themselves as equal. They think of themselves as better than somebody else. They think of themselves as standing on a pedestal above somebody that doesn't look like them. That's it. So you can't condemn a Jew for being a supremacist if you think you're supreme or you think you're inferior. And if you think you're inferior to a Jew, that's just as bad as thinking you're superior to a Jew, because you're still existing on that plane of differences. am I saying that, you know, cultural Marxism, where we blend all people together and get rid of freaking identity? No, I'm just saying your identity is you. That's it. It's your name. That's your identity. Everything else is bullshit, at least in our system. Now, I want borders to protect that frame of thought. I want borders to protect those ideals and those principles. That's what I want borders for. I don't want borders to, you know, for the separation of those classical, those class identities or those racial identities. That's not what borders are for. Let Europeans figure that shit out on their own time. But America was a product of the Enlightenment, where they came to the conclusion that was like, hey, no, yeah, borders are for ideas, not for races. But you got a bunch of idiots that want to go back to the good old days where that was where the world was and where it made sense for them. And it's stupid, and it's wrong, and it's not going to be progress. But then I got to fight up against, you know, like black people that think this, because they think this too. They think that there is a social hierarchy. They think that race is real and that they should operate and, you know, operate within the realm of race realism. Like I said this before, Candace Owens wants race realism. She wants race realism for, you know, for black people to have, you know, a place at the table, basically, you know, in this structure. She doesn't want to change the structure. She's just worried about, you know, getting people to acquiesce to the status quo and making sure that there's a certain class of people in this country that acquiesce to the status quo. A certain demographics is destiny, is that, you know, acquiesce to the status quo. They just go along to get along with Donald Trump and his dumbass policies that aren't change. They're not change. Well, I was going to pull up the Paris Climate Accord because this is one of the talking points I hear on the left and on the right. The right uses the Paris Climate Accord as a, you know, like, is like a badge of honor or something. Hold on, let me read your comments real quick. I see this shit's scrolling crazy. Hey, Handsome Truth, don't be running no damn votes in my channel, man. I don't need no votes. This ain't democracy. I run this shit. I don't vote. I don't care what y'all people think. I'm telling y'all what I think. Press 2. Press. Get the fuck out of here. No, I was kidding. No, I don't do the voting thing. I don't care if you guys want to vote. This ain't a democracy. This is Dante channel. Okay? This is not a democracy. This is Republic. This is my channel. Hold on. But anyways, I was going to pull up the Paris Climate Accord, man, because it's important that we see this shit. That we see that Donald Trump didn't pull out of shit. He didn't pull out of the Paris Climate Accord. What are they talking about? You see this talking point being used on the left and the right, the so-called left and the right. Climate. Let's just type that in. See what happens. Okay, Paris Agreement, okay? Pull it up on fucking Wikipedia. It'll tell you itself. Fucking Wikipedia. No one even reads anything, man. They just operate off the damn talking points. This is like talking point. Donald Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Donald Trump, oh my God, he pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement. And people just say it over and over again like it's fucking truth. No, it isn't. He didn't pull out his shit. Because look when it takes place. Here, I'm sort of, you know, scrolling through this too fast. Let me take criticism, references, lack of binding enforcement. No. You get the agreement was designed to screw over the United States, basically. The point is, Donald Trump didn't change anything about that. Let me see. I just want to read into the structure of it. Content. No, this is not the right thing. Let's see. A Paris Climate pull out. Because withdrawal. Okay, so here it is. There's an actual Wikipedia page for it. United States withdrawal from the Paris Agreement, right? Processed petitions. Was it this? Yes. Process. Okay, so this is the process in which we will pull out of the Paris Climate Agreement. In accordance with Article 28 of the Paris Agreement, the earliest possible effective withdrawal date by the United States cannot be before November 4th, 2020. Okay? He can't even pull out before the election is November 3rd. He can't pull out. The United States cannot effectively withdraw before November 4th, 2020. So, hello, it's right here. He can't even pull out. Let's pull up the actual Paris Climate Agreement, the Article 28. He can't pull out until 2020. It's physically impossible. It's part of the agreement. We're still in there till after he gets elected for a second term. Literally the day after. So everybody that makes that fucking talking point that you hear is talking literally straight out of their ass. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. I read this a year ago and I did a video on it. I did a video on it a year ago, and I was like, he didn't pull out of that Paris Climate Accord. But then I still hear that talking point every day. Donald Trump, he's doing so great. He pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord. Donald Trump is fighting globalism. Like, no, he isn't. He's making you people think he's fighting globalism. He makes you people think he's fighting ethno-nationalism when he's setting up a state that encompasses both of those ideals. And he amplifies them at the same time. Both. I know it's paradoxical and people can't wrap their heads around paradoxes because they don't understand the Hegelian dialectic, where it's both sides that culminate to a center point where you take in the worst of both ends. Yeah, it's communism and fascism. It's called communitarianism. Okay? It's both. It's not either or. There's not globalism or ethno-nationalism. It's both. And so that's why, it's hard to talk to people about, like, how could somebody set up a system that would be both of these things that seem like they're polar opposites? They're not polar opposites. They're just different degrees of the same idea. Different degrees. There's no hot and cold. It's just temperature. There's just different, fluctuating degrees between them. And so you can't notice that you're just feeling the same sensation. Same fucking sensation. But, we have different words for it. Different isms. Isms are meaningless. How it unfolds is what matters. So I try to keep this shit simple. People say I'm making this shit complex. I'm making it simple. I'm just trying to tell you people that... Trying to wake people up. You can stick to the language. I mean, I want to wake people up to, understanding who's doing this stuff but then if you wake up to who's doing it and then you think by attacking the who and not changing the how they're doing it, then you're going to be effective. I don't think so. I don't think, going after who's doing it without changing the how is much better. Let me read what you guys are saying. Read some Hegel. You know who. But anyways, let's watch this video since I'm like all over the damn place.
To do a bit of advertising, apologies for that.
Like, I don't need to know who if I know what they're doing too. These people are talking about they want to track and trace us. I know it's Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner's the head of the technology development sector, 666 boy. Yeah, we knew. Alex Jones was telling us years ago that they wanted to microchip us. Well, face track us. We have all that right here, all day long. They're face tracking us. There's the microchip right there. It's like, do you really need something internal? Do you need something that's, topical or something that's going under your skin? Maybe not. It might just be that. That might be your mark of the beast. You just walking around with it. You're recording into it. After this shooting, who knows how freaking draconian this shit gets, but it's gonna get. Right now we're there, we're freaking there. But they wanted to track and trace us. They don't want us having cash. So this video is about basic income and how they're getting rid of cash. And I've talked about how I work retail and we don't even carry $10 bills in our store any longer. We don't literally carry $10 bills. They're slowly getting rid of cash. We have a thumb scanning vending machine at my job, my place of work, where you put money in, you can put cash in, but you will never get change back out. You have to biometrically scan your thumbprint and, pull out the item that you want, but the cash that you put in gets stored under your thumbprint. And so, yeah, that the biometric scanning grid is here. That's the funny part, is like, you don't hear Alex Jones talking about that anymore. You don't hear him talking about the police state. Everything is the left, the left, the left, the left, the libtards, the left, and the globalists left, and the Chinese communists. I don't even watch Alex Jones, so I'm just hearing this, you know, tertiarily from other people on word of mouth. But, you know, I know what he used to talk about. What he used to talk about was what was coming. And now that it's under Trump, he doesn't talk about it anymore. So that's what's crazy. It's like you have the whole entire conspiracy crowd got sucked up under Trump. And so now they create conspiracies to protect Trump. That's crazy. They create conspiracy theories or rationalizations. It's like they got, you know, all this training in rationalizing things, you know, trying to figure out how to question stuff or maintain, what do you call it, suspended disbelief or doubt in their head. And then like make connections out of the doubt, and then all they do is apply that into, you know, some sort of apologetics for Trump. Let's look at the word apologetics. I might say that word, and then I don't even know if people understand that word. Apologetics. Apologetics, man. What is apologetics? This is what you see Sticks, X, and Hammer doing. Regretfully acknowledging or excusing an offense or failure, right? So somebody that's like engaging in apologetics is making a bunch of fucking excuses. They're making a bunch of excuses for what it is they see. So like, it's kind of like what Kyle Kalinske was doing over here in this, or not Kyle Kalinske, he was talking about was this guy was trying to make these false equivalencies and, you know, these justifications for Trump's rhetoric, which is obviously, you know, contributing to the rise of, you know, crazy motherfuckers out there. And hey, no, it's not Trump. Who's the real anti-Semites are those people who are against, you know, against Trump and the anti-BDS movement. Those are the real anti-Semites, not that guy. They're just like that guy who shot that church full of people. Yeah, that's exactly the same. So that's, you know, apologetics, rationalizing or creating fucking excuses for the bullshit that your President Trump, your master, your Lord and Savior, your Lord fucking of darkness is saying. And so, yeah, anyways, so that's that. But anyways, back to this basic income, basic jobs, and Richard Spencer's Roman New World Order, the Bilderberg's purpose for Trump. The Bilderberg's purpose for Trump. I made this video February 5th, 2018. It's seen by 696 people. Nobody disliked this video. Somebody can go dislike it now, but
basic income and how we can make it happen.
Can you hear that? Hold on, let me turn it up.
And since I was last in New Zealand, there must be something in the water internationally. Because I'm getting a little worried that I've suddenly become respectable. I'm truly, genuinely worried. I was talking to Darren about it. He's probably washed his hands and won't speak to me again. But last year I got invited to talk about the precariat and basic income by the Bilderberg Group. By the Bilderberg Group. By the Bilderberg Group. Now those of you who know about the Bilderberg Group will know it's the right-wing elite of the world. And I initially didn't accept. I thought it was a joke from a Marxist friend of mine winding me up. Didn't respond, but then 3 days later I got a call at my house from the secretary of the Bilderberg Group saying, no, we've been asking you to come. I said, oh. So I consulted all my lefty friends around Europe, and to a man and a woman they said, go. Tell them about the precariat, tell them about basic income. So the long and the short of it.
The precariat, the working class. Look at what he say. What does he say? He goes to the Bilderberg Group, which he understands is the right-wing globalist movement. Right-wing globalist. And what are they setting up? They're setting up the precariat, which is not the old working class, but a new working class. The new working class. What are these? These are the Lyft drivers, the Uber drivers, the Dashers, the precariat, the new working class. You're part and parcel to the surface economy. You're the next stage before robots take over completely. The precariat. So they want to put you on an IV called universal basic income, basically sustain your living, because as time goes on, as money becomes more and more worthless, so does your life. Let's go on.
Is that I went, and there were a smaller number of people than in this room now, and imagine how I felt when I was introduced, talking for an hour on the precariat and basic income, sitting there, staring at me like an owl. It was Henry Kissinger. Now, when I was a student, he was the man we hated more than anybody else in the world. And the annoying thing is, although he's 93, he's still as sharp as nail. That was the disappointing thing. I wanted him to be gaga, you know. I hope this is not being videoed or recorded. And what happened was that he sat there. Next to him was Christine Lagarde, the head of the IMF, 2 US presidential candidates, the head of the CIA, the head of MI6, 3 prime ministers, 2 kings, the head of Google, the head of Facebook, all of that time, right? So for an hour, I was talking about the precariat and basic income, and I genuinely thought they would all run for the bar, proverbially. Instead, I noticed after about 10 minutes, a whole lot of them, including Christine Lagarde, were all taking notes. And at the end of it, after I'd said, this was beginning of last June, I said, don't be surprised if the precariat, or part of it, vote for Donald Trump and have him elected. And don't be surprised if that part of it in the UK vote for Brexit and Brexit. And all of those people there were against Trump, to the main part, as far as they would speak about it, and against Brexit. And since that meeting in Bilderberg, I have to confess that I've been treated as a respectable human being, and I got invited to Davos to give 3 speeches at Davos, one on corruption of capitalism, the subject of my last book, one on the precariat, and one on basic income. And what has been happening in this last 2 years is extraordinary.
Now, so this is kind of interesting, right? So here he is telling you that Bilderbergers don't like Trump. The Bilderbergers don't like Trump. But they're going to listen to, you know, him after, you know, he says, don't be surprised if the precariat, this certain class of people, actually vote for Trump and support Trump. And then he goes to Davos, Switzerland, and he gets invited, you know, to go talk at these World Economic Forums where Donald Trump's meeting with Xi Jinping and stuff, and he's explaining all this bullshit, and, you know, what's his name, Steve Bannon's, and explain how, you know, we need to go into the Belt and Road with Xi Jinping. It's like, it's crazy. They'll set up enemies and friends at the same time. They'll be like, okay, we know that this group of people is going to be for this ideology. We know we could set them up. We know we can make them look bad, so they'll come over to our ideology. And they'll play both sides. That's what's crazy. You see how they start off with one approach to this guy, and they move to how they can use that negativity to their own advantage. How they could use the negative aspects of Trump to push another agenda that they have. They know that they could use the backdrop of Trump to push other things. Facebook, Google, you know, all these organizations sitting in one room are going to steer you in another direction. What is that direction?
Because across the world, a huge number of people across the political spectrum have been coming out in favor of basic income. There's a danger there, we know that.
I seen Kyle Kalinske. Where is he? He was talking about basic income a few weeks ago. He's like, you know what? I'm in support of it now. There's no difference between right and left, man. It's just you're getting steered. People are getting steered through that ideology, through the Hegelian scheme. But towards what? Fabian socialism. Fabian socialism. Fabius is a Roman. Sorry, you don't want to hear that. Okay? That's what he is. Fabius Cantatus. It's funny when I pull up this video. I used to put this up a lot. A lot of people probably saw it and they didn't know what the hell was going on. Yes. Quintatus. Quintatus. Oh shit, where did that video go? And it's like this Roman emperor. The Fabian socialism is named after. Tony Blair's a Fabian socialist. Oh, this guy talked about Michael Black. I like him. But I found a video where it's like Fabius talking to his troops, and he's explaining to people like how you're gonna have a role in society. You're gonna have, you know. Oh, look at that nose, man.
His opponents called him Contact. Celts, Iberians, Libyans, and Carthaginians.
Anyways, he fought up against the Carthaginians, and you know he used basically terrorism to destabilize from the inside this army. But yeah, Fabian socialism, slow takeover of your economy via small incremental steps. And yeah, look who's involved in the Fabian society. You know, you got the Thulian society. You got a lot of people connected to Hitler. I know there's a lot of freaking white nationalist Hitler lovers out there, but I'm like one of these people like Hitler. Just because you hate the Jews doesn't mean Hitler was right. A lot of people don't understand that Hegelian dialectic again, where it's like just because you hate the Jews doesn't mean he was doing the right thing. A lot of people fall for that damn trap too. So now he was getting used too. He was part of some ancient gay-ass German orders too. He had gay troops. He had the Pink Triangle boys, your boy Hitler, going around. And guess where the Pink Triangle is now? Pink Triangle. Where they pay tribute to Hitler. But they make people think that they're paying tribute to gay people. Pink Triangle, Israel. They got a shrine for Hitler and his gay army, and they make people think it's for the freaking gay Jews that he prosecuted. Not true. Pride and Progress in Israel. Is this where it is? You see the video of the Pink Triangle?
Which their identity. First time, and that was a huge thing for the community.
Oh yeah, man. That wouldn't have made it to Israel if it wasn't for Hitler. But Kay Griggs gets into that. She talks about it. There it is. There's a Pink Triangle. Right there in the smack dab in the middle of Israel. They paid tribute to Hitler's gay regiment. A bunch of those brown shirts. So you guys would like idolize. Yeah, they were homogeneous. Homogeneous. Just like Richard Spencer. Just like his German ass. Just like Donald Trump's German ass. Science equals death. Everything's inverted. These people lying about everything. Let's get back into this.
But when you get the head of Google coming out, the head of Facebook coming out.
Every generation expands its definition of equality. Previous generations fought for the vote and civil rights. They had the New Deal and Great Society. And now it's time for our generation to define a new social contract.
Oh, I have it in this video.
We should have a society that measures progress not just by economic metrics like GDP, but by how many of us have a role we find meaningful. We should explore.
You should have a role. You need a role in your society. You need to fulfill a certain duty to your society. And this is kind of exactly what Jordan Peterson talks about. Or, you know, we shouldn't care about rights. We need to care about responsibilities, duties. It's like, That sounds like something a slave master would say. Like, you don't have any life. You don't get to make your own decisions. Goyim. You got to do what you're told. You need a role in life. You need to be meaningful to the community. It's like, what if I don't want to be meaningful to your community? What if I say, fuck your community because your community is hypocritical, backstabbing assholes? What if your community is trying to frame me for certain crimes that I didn't do because you got all this crazy-ass technology that could, you know, body scan my face and change my voice and put it anywhere you want to? What if I don't want to be fulfilling some roles for your fucking technocracy? Well, it doesn't matter because we're going to pay you, we're going to destroy your currency, and we're going to give you universal basic income. Okay? Just wait. This genius businessman you got, his name's Donald Trump. He's going to fuck up your stock market. But not yet. Just wait. It's got to be a prime moment for that to happen. He's got to be the savior first before he can pull the rug out from under you. He's got to be the genie, you know, that grants all your wishes before you realize that you're going to have to pay for it. Isn't there a new movie coming out? New Aladdin, live action Aladdin? Arabian Nights, man. Khashoggi, he had a bad Arabian night. Yeah, they're coming out with a new Aladdin. I think, what is it, July 20th? See, all this shit is propaganda and training, literally. This is published October 11, 2018. This comes out next May 24th. Get another generation, you know, accustomed to this idea that you can have all your wishes fulfilled. You'll have a great booming economy like Bill Clinton was able to produce. And then they're going to, bam, give you crazy ass interest rates. And then here we are back in 2006. But, you know, this time you're going to have probably some sort of like libertarian or some type of person in office. And they're going to, what are they going to do? They're going to be like, hey, all the banks got to fail. All the banks got to fail. And you guys got to accept this new currency if you want to eat. And I don't know. I'm just brainstorming, thinking about why they push all this damn propaganda. But listen.
Try new ideas. He wants people to have free money from taxpayers, not to make sure that they don't lose their house, not to make sure that them and their children don't starve, but so that they could just play around and try some new ideas. Hey, Mark, I think I'm going to try hang gliding this weekend. Why don't you kick me some of that universal income, bro? Man, I always wanted to play the guitar and be a rock star. Maybe I could just get some free universal income and quit my day job and just go and join a band.
Well, this is the crazy part. When Trump starts pushing that idea, right? Because Trump now, he gets to be pro-Jewish everything. So if Mark Zuckerberg says something, Trump has the excuse now to be like for it. Not because it's the left, but because it's a Jew saying it. So he gets to have the best of both the Jewish worlds. Like the synthesis is here for you. The synthesis between the nationalist and the globalist ideologies could happen through Trump. He could trump them all. But yeah, Mark Dice was kind of right. You know, it's like, hey, give me some of that free fucking money. I'm down for that. That sounds great for me. No, it isn't great because it comes at a cost. There's nothing given to you for free. You know, you're going to have to earn your freaking money, your free money, your so-called free money, your universal basic income. Anyway, so this guy Standing, he went to India and practiced, you know, giving this out. They actually did it out here in was it Bakersfield? No, it was in California. They tried this out for a month. Universal UBI California. Yeah, this was like a few months ago. I covered it just briefly. Stockton. It was Stockton, California, to give $500 in basic income to some residents. Hold on, you guys can't see this shit because this stuff's too damn big. So California town will give $500 monthly to stipend to residents. And this happened July 9th of this year. This mayor, this guy, he's African American. He's over here and thinking that, let's give $500 a month to people that are struggling, and it would be good because they've been screwed over by the white man. and a white devil. So this will help them get back on their feet in like one of the most drug-ridden cities on fucking California. Stockton experiment is not the first demonstration of universal basic income. Similar programs have already been conducted by various organizations.
After transforming to meet the challenges of a digital world, never stop.
In Finland, oh, I can hear it. Hold on. There we go. Where was I? In Finland, a monthly stipend of 560 euros was given to 2,000 unemployed people between the ages of 25 and 58. In Cambodia, $5 a month went to pregnant women and children. A 12-year pilot program sponsored from the nonprofit GiveDirectly.org is underway in Kenya, while a similar program is sponsored by the Canadian government is undergoing testing in Ontario. Another pilot backed up by startup accelerator Y Combinator will give 1,000 people in Oakland, California up to $1,000 a month for up to 5 years. Okay. Oh, free money, man. Free money sounds great. Sign me up. Sign me up. Don't read the fine print, but sign me up because it says money. There's too many damn billionaires walking around and I have no money. Right? So that's this guy's ideal. This is what he thinks, you know, is needed for society. No, we don't need to. Don't end usury. Don't end this whole system that constantly requires that, you know, money be doled out over time. Hold on, let me read your comments. Don't end usury. Just give us money. Give us some of the money you stole from us back with a bunch of freaking chains attached to it. That's what they want to do, man. They want to make you slaves. But see, a Jew can't make you a slave. A Jew doesn't have enforcement. A Jew doesn't have any enforcement. Where does the enforcement arm of Judaism come in? You think it's robots? Nah. They're going to get you people to police yourselves. Because that's what Romans do. They make you want to be a part of their system. That's how you get converted to a citizen. And this is all laid out in, you know, in what do you call it? In Starship Troopers. They did the same thing. Where he was talking about if you want to be a citizen, you want to have voting rights, you have to join the military. What do they do in Israel? What do they do in Israel? Do they make everybody sign up for the military at 18? Yeah. Men and women got to sign up. Unless you get to abstain. Unless you're like straight up really orthodox and you don't want to go fight. And those are the really special ones. But everybody else, man, they get injected into the militarism aspect of that society. So that's what I try to talk to people about. It's like how you think they won't change America into Israel? Let them do this. Let them create these crises. Let them, you know, have mandatory enlistment. Let them create a situation where there's a civil war and they're going to tell you that, you know, we're going to have some sort of draft. Why don't we just keep that draft permanent? Why don't we just say that, you know, there's people out here to occupy and, you know, and you call it, what do you call it? Make settlements in the new United Ethno-States of America. That's why I'm against ethno-staters. Because they don't know what the fuck it is they're supporting. They don't know that even if they do get to the point where they set up their ethno-state, who's actually going to be in control of it? You think it's your local Richard Spencer when it's actually these globalist bankers who were planning on setting that up in the first place. They want Israel's everywhere. They want Israel's in America. They want you people to ask for it. They don't want just Israel for Israel. They want you to have an Israel. That's why they've been promoting Richard Spencer. Because he'll come out there and tell it to you. Even though he beats his wife and gets caught for it, you have apologetics. You have people that'll create, you know, this idea that what Richard Spencer is saying is for the greater good of the white people. Therefore, it's good. I'm like, fuck no, it's not American. You are letting your society turn into an ethno-state because you think that, you know, black crime rates are too high. You're an idiot. I'm not saying the black crime rates aren't too high. I'm saying American crime rates are too high. People are too fucking stupid. And that's why we're getting screwed over. That's why these people are moving in with their plan and their agenda, Agenda 21. And you guys can't do anything to stop it stop it because you're focused on who rather than what. I need people to focus on what so you can say who. It's okay to say who, but if you're saying who and then you don't even know what they're doing, then that's a whole nother problem. Saying the synagogue of Satan is creating Satanism, that doesn't mean shit. It really doesn't. It does not explain universal basic income and what that is in any sort of context. It's Satanism. No, the fuck it isn't. That is not Satanism. Universal basic income is them telling you that cash is no longer cash. Saying Satanism and hoping Jesus comes and prays and saves you is not going to fucking save you. Jesus was like me. Jesus was out there fucking flipping over those goddamn tables and saying, fuck these money changers in their system. He wasn't saying, Satan is coming. Oh no, the Jews and Satan. No, he wasn't doing that shit. Jesus wasn't naming the Jew. He was telling people that fucking what their system was fucking fucked up. That's what Jesus was doing. You have to understand the system. So that's all I've been trying to explain. That's what Alex Jones used to explain. Was the eugenics plan. How they could set up this caste system to get people to, you know, willingly kill themselves off. Or create a police state. Police state 1 through 4. I wish I had fucking police state 1 through 4. I have all his other movies like Fall of Republic. But, you know, police state 1 through 4 is exactly what Donald Trump is doing. And then on the second note is that Russia was in Montana with an actual jail. It's like, well, let me see if I can find this video. Montana, Russian. I think I have the video. Russian prison. Like this Russian guy comes over here and sets up a prison in the middle of freaking Montana. What was it? Oh, shoot. No, it was a... Oh, shit. Did they erase that video? Montana. Because this came out, and then they were talking about it. Let me see. Montana private prison. It's like, how are these motherfuckers from another country setting up a private prison inside of Montana? And now I can't even find it. Talk about being scrubbed off the internet. I'll have to go looking for that and do another video on it. But it's just crazy. It's like, how are these people setting up a prison? It's like, yeah, it is literally Red Dawn. They will literally come over here, and then they've convinced all the conspiracy theorists and all the people that would, you know, really question Russia to think that that's fake news and it's a false hoax, or say that it's Russia and it's not Russia, it's Israel. The Russians are Christians, and they're not freaking the synagogue of Satan. The synagogue of Satan is not in Ukraine, and Satan of Ukraine is not an actual place. No, the Russians have nothing to do with Israel. And Joseph Davis lays out all the connections. I mean, go to his Talpiot talk. He does a damn good job. Me, I'm looking at it from a historical sense. Like, yeah, the Khazars were all over these Slavic countries. They're all Slavic people, all of them. All these people that you think are Jews are just technically Slavs. And so, whatever. So they moved their ass through Britain into freaking Israel. Through Germany, through Prussia, and into Britain, into, you know, the Habsburgs, Gothas, that family, down into Israel. And everybody keeps on saying, name the nose. Do you know that nose is called aquiline nose? I love showing this to people, because then it's another thing they get tripping out on. Always telling me I'm damn wrong. Aquiline nose. What does that say? Like an eagle, of a person's nose. Hooked or curved like an eagle's beak. Synonyms: hooked, curved, bent, angular, Roman. Roman nose. Why is it called the Roman nose? I wonder why. I wonder why the freaking hook nose is called the Roman nose. Hooked like a beak of an eagle. Because it's a certain class of people. Who got that hook nose? See, these are people that have been converted into the citizenry of this system. Okay? These are the people that are really freaking high up. and they love them, and they try to maintain that genetic line. But you think that these people are Jews or not? It's not the name of the game. The name of the game is not name the Jew or not. Okay, these people that operate at the top echelons of this system have always been Roman. That nose that you call a Jewish nose is not a Jewish nose. It's called an aquiline nose, and it's literally called a Roman nose. But you people keep on saying fucking name the Jew nose if you want to. I'm going to keep on saying what I say because I know the fucking history. So, whatever. Y'all could eat a dick. Anyway, so let's go into this fucking video, back into this system, what these people are who run this shit at the top, and how they're in power right now, and how they're completing the end of their fucking Revelations biblical story.
Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, whole lot of Silicon Valley types coming out, big corporate chief executives coming out.
Elon Musk, Mr. Weed Smoker.
Suddenly, there's a new legitimacy. We have to be very careful, very careful. But now finally some trade unions. Andy Stern in the United States has come out. He's become some sort of guru overnight. I don't think he really knows much about basic income, but he's written a book saying he believes in it. So I'm delighted that he's coming. This is a new phase in the debate. You can no longer have a prime minister stand up and say this idea is barking mad. Because you can say, listen, I'm in good company. So we are in a new phase. And then I got this commission to write this book for Penguin. Good thing about it is it's cheap. To bring together all the evidence and thinking of what has been a long journey for myself of over 35 years of working for a basic income. All of us should have dreams. And I want to begin by saying something that is very famous, that it's from the impossible, the dreamers of the impossible, rather than the slaves of the possible.
Watch, this is what I'm trying to get at, is watch Donald Trump pivot to the left on a lot of issues. The issues that the left are calling for that you think that, like, a fascist wouldn't do. Yeah, a fascist would do a lot of those things. A fascist would, you know, create health programs for the youth and create religious programs to help people get moral. They would do that. That's what Hitler did. Okay? Donald Trump will do that. But those are things that people will accept as good. They won't accept all the bad stuff, so they got to get a lot of the bad stuff out of the way, all stuff that people are going to disagree with. But at the same time, they got to make people reflect. So they create situations to make people reflect. The caravan is part of that. The caravan is get people to reflect on their human nature. What do you want? And that's kind of like the biblical story of the Jews anyways. It's like these people seeking asylum or going on exodus, getting away from oppression, right? Getting away from a bad situation. Bad situation, they don't tell anybody, is created by usury. They don't tell anybody it's created by slave masters trying to, you know, force work out of people. And so that's why they actually leave. But they make it seem like these people are, you know, just they're good. They're really good. They mean good. They mean well. And so it's part of, you know, it's part of a cyclical system. It's part and parcel to the whole unfolding of the story. And they have the story repeat over and over again. The caravan people are on their exodus into the new land. All right? That's why so many black people think they're the actual Jews. Well, at least the Jews of the Bible, Deuteronomy 28, is because it talks about them being in shackles, that they would be put in shackles and shipped off to a different land. Well, yeah. Who else did that happen to? So that's why they think. But I'm trying to tell people that, like, this story is always happening, and it happens over and over again. They weren't the first, and they weren't the last. Okay? It's just part of a system.
That social evolution draws its creative force. My dream is that every one of us in every community should have a basic income as a right.
Community.
An individual basic income given as a right without conditions and paid individually. For a long time, such an idea would have been regarded as a dream, an impossible dream. But in the last couple of years, a remarkable number of people, including Nobel Prize winners and people like yourselves, have come to realize that it is not only possible, but feasible, desirable, affordable. It's a remarkable change. And we have established a network called BIEN, Basic Income Earth Network, and I just hope at least one of you listening will join us in the struggle. Because it is just going to be a struggle, and it will only come about if we collectively demand it. And that is possible and desirable. Now, what's the context? The context is that we're undergoing a global transformation in which a global market system is developing.
The lines in our cables, diplomacy tables, to share the world of prosperity. Oh, the future's coming now.
The Belt and Road.
But the insecurities and the inequalities are multiplying all over the world. And in that process, a new class structure is taking shape. And the biggest mass class is the precariat. People who are being forced to accept a life of unstable labor without an occupational identity, relying on low, stagnant money wages without rights. They are supplicants, having to ask for favors, beggars, really.
Can't predict history. And I don't think anyone can, not even a supercomputer can. There's so many, I can't even predict what's going to happen in politics next week. It actually surprises me. So, you know, it's like, all I'm saying is that the current paradigm that we are living in now is not long for this world. It is contradictory. It is already breaking down. It is already just overladen with tremendous amount of leverage in the sense of debt and overextension of the military and so on. It's going to break down. There's going to be a reset at some point. It might be in my lifetime, maybe not. There's going to be a reset. There's going to be a chance for a new world order. There are going to be people other groups that have a vision for this new world order. Islam, they have some ideas about how the globe should be structured, believe me. China has some ideas about how the world should be structured. That might be better than Islam, but that's not really a world I want to live in. I'm saying that Western civilization, the white race, we also have to have a vision of how we are going to, this is how we're going to have a political order in a post-American environment.
Post-American. Ain't gonna be no more America, people. But they already know this. They know what they're doing. They know what they're setting up. It's not a mistake. Richard Spencer is highly connected. As much as he just is just some dude that's on the internet, you know, talking to YouTubers, he's much more than that. And that's why I cover him, because people don't understand how high up he is in these military orders. And, you know, organizations like SHAPE, or Strategic Headquarters, Allied Powers Europe, who his family is. Yeah, he knows what's going on. He's out here to push propaganda to this really tightly confined, you know, group of internet retards called the alt-right. All of them. They all are they don't have to agree with like his optics, but he's not there for their optics. He's there to get them accustomed to this ideology. And that's what he's doing. And he does a damn good job. He'll tell you everything. He doesn't like even hold back. He'll be like, yeah, we're the Romans. I got him saying that. He says, we want a new world order. We're doing it for the white race. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's not a lie. But what's going to have to take place in order for that? Okay? He's not against the Jews. They're not, the right people aren't against the Jews. In principle, they support the idea of ethno-states, a lot of them now. Almost all of them agree. Like, yeah, well, you know, what's wrong with having a homeland? We all, you know, kind of want to be with our own people anyways, you know. So the statistics show, the studies show that, you know, interracial relationships are, you know, conducive to negative behaviors and sadistic and depressing feelings and lack of, you know, belonging. And so, you know, this is really the way things should be. We're just turning back the clock into pushing things to where they need to go. Like, he'll say all that, and it sounds like people eat that shit up. There's certain things that people don't agree with, but a lot of that stuff that he says, I see a lot of people agreeing with it. They all kind of like generally like, he ain't lying. I watched some of the black nationalists. They all agree with Richard Spencer. They're just like, I'm glad you're finally saying it. This is how we felt all along. This is how we black people felt about what it is that you do all along. You white people. That's what they say. So I'm glad Richard Spencer is saying it. They don't disagree with Richard Spencer. They just wanted somebody to outright say it because that's how they felt. They don't disagree. Okay, and so I'm telling people they don't disagree with this system. They want segregation. They want the ending of America. But that's what Kay Griggs was trying to tell you. The Jews were working with the Nazis in the Russians inside of America. They worked with the military-industrial complex to tear down Americanism. That's what they did. Watch Kay Griggs. She explains it. But it's like, how would they do that? Well, Dugan explains it. They would freaking, you know, bolster up black racists in this country. And anybody who believes and talks about race is a racist in this country. Anybody that's trying to promote their idea of racial positivism or being positive about their race and their heritage, black power, you're a racist. So making people go black power means you're anti-white. Making people go pro-white means you're anti-whatever else there is. That's it. So they promoted racism, starting off with the black power individuals. It's easy to do with them. They already feel oppressed. All you had to do is nudge them, use social media to make them feel a little bit more oppressed, and then through collectivism or the collective hive mind of the black identity, you'll freaking start, you know, enacting these behaviors of feeling like you're one of the oppressed class, even though physically nothing might actually be happening to you individually. You might not actually ever had an encounter with a policeman, officer, or somebody that's treated you or called you outside of your name and, you know, used a racial slur towards you. You might have never experienced that. So what they have for you is a Candace Owen. That's what they have a Candace Owen for. So she could steer you through that type of complex into the, you know, like I said, the acquiescence to the status quo, or the apologetics realm of Donald Trump support. And so you have a lot of freaking, they had this just meeting the other day on Friday with the Black Young Lives Matter or something like that. Meeting of black young entrepreneurs set up by another freaking think tank organization. What was it called? Turning Point America. And these people eat it up. They're all like on that Kanye West level of freaking understanding of the world, and they eat up all that bullshit that Donald Trump could sell them. They don't understand usury. They don't understand fractional reserve banking. They don't understand how they're being screwed and how the value of the dollar is being diminished by everything that Donald Trump does. They just know talking points. That's what Turning Point USA does. It should be called Talking Point USA, because that's all they fucking do is spit out talking points. Anyways, I gotta get fucking going pretty soon. It just pisses me off, man. Everybody. Candace Owens is some sexy shill. Damon V got the hots for Candace Owens. She's okay. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be able to deal with her attitude, man. Her attitude is just like, you think you're better than everybody. I can't be with a chick like that, man. No, you gotta have some sort of humbleness. But, you know, yeah, she's probably a freak. Probably a freak. Tartary Empire. Yeah, we can get into Tartary Empire. The Great Tartary. And that's where, like I like the way Logos Media was covering and saying that this is, you know, you could say that the Bible is kind of like an annal of a family that's, you know, comes out of this area of the planet. I think that's pretty accurate. Even Manly P. Hall said that about Great Tartary. He was saying that, that, you know, the Bible was really just an annal of these certain families out of this part of the planet, and that's all it is. It's just we lose like a lot of the meaning, or we, you know, emphasize certain terminologies into like greater importance than they are because of, you know, history. So we say like Lucifer will just mean like the emperor of Rome, but we think it means like, you know, some guy that's a metaphysical being that exists that's evil. And he, you know, and we think that Satan is like some guy with horns who's, you know, makes anagrams and fucking does crazy weird stuff that black, you know, magic magicians think of. That's not what Satan was to these Romans. Satan was just like, you know, any other fucking god, or Satan could be a place. Satan literally, that's why when I found Satanov Ukraine, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty interesting. Satanov Ukraine. It's like Satan. What is Satan? Satan ain't shit. But as long as people believe he's shit, then, you know, you have the Kaiser Soze effect. You have this people believing this normal ass nothingness dude is some evil being from some all powerful realm that, you know, you have to somehow objectively find good to fight him. Like, if you believe in objective good, then yeah, of course they're going to create laws to reflect that belief. That's where law comes from, the belief that there's objective good. But yeah, then there has to be objective evil, and therefore you're going to have to come to that conclusion through some idea of like a Satan that's out in the physical world, and that he's like, you know, takes a mortal form like Jared Kushner or something. I mean, Jared Kushner might technically be the Antichrist, but that doesn't mean that he's not mortal. I think, you know, I just think he's just a role player, and he's playing a specific role. But anyways, I don't know. Let me get back into this video, because I go into their Fabian socialism, this Roman socialism, and pretty soon it breaks down. Why did I get into we was kangs and shit? I don't know. You can go watch this video on your own time, but oh yeah,
New Testament, you find them in Confucius, you find them in Fabian socialism.
Yeah, Fabian socialism. What does it say? Life and training of Roman legionnaire. Fabius. Number 1, enlistment into the army. That's what they do in Starship Troopers, right?
Okay, you men, on your feet, stand up.
Get up,
Put
bitch.
Put your fist in the air. Say, Aue Kaiser!
Aue Kaiser!
Aue Kaiser!
Hail Caesar! Hail Trump! Hail Hitler!
My name is Fabius Laureus Tiburtinus, and I work for the Imperator Vespasianus in Roma. I'm here today because you men have an interest in joining the Roman legions. You men enjoy a life of peace, but I'm here to tell you a fact of life. Nobody can enjoy peace unless you know how to make war.
Right? Fuck, man. I tell you, peace is 2 nuclear missiles pointing at all of your enemies. That's peace. That is peace. The threat of death. Right? That's what they mean by peace. They mean it in like the negative abstraction. They don't mean it in like directly like, hey, I have tranquility. Tranquil. No, they mean fucking 2 nuclear weapons, no warheads, pointing one at yourself and another at your enemy. So you could take out everything. That's what peace is to these people. So you don't get peace.
People throughout the world, barbarians everywhere you go, they don't get up in the morning and think to themselves, I think today will just be good to be doing something different. They get up in the morning and they think we better be good today, because if we're not, the Roman legions are going to smash our faces.
Yeah.
We've got 25 legions scattered throughout the world. Each legion contains 4,800 professionally trained killers. You can become a part of these teams. The career is great. 25 years. That's all you have to promise.
Look at those professionally
25 years on your sacramentum that you're going to work for the Imperator. We're going to pay you 225 denarii to start out with. That's a lot of money for you. All those silver coins. You don't spend them all, you save some, but you've got plenty to live on. And as you move up through the ranks, your pay is going to increase. If you're lucky, you'll become an optio, then pretty soon you can become a centurion. then your salary is going to go up to about 1,000 denarii. After that, if you become more lucky and you stick to it, you can become a centurio hestatus. Then your salary is going to go up to 10,000 denarii. And if you become like me, a military tribune, you can be earning 100,000 denarii. It's a lot of money, and it's a lot of money for a great career. 25 years, you can look forward to retirement.
Oh, the video.
When you join the Legion, we're going to train you. Yes, we're going to train you to fight, but you're going to get something more. You're going to get a profession. Everybody who is a legionnaire has some kind of trade. When you go to live in a military camp, you don't just go there and get waited on by people. You're not going to have servants to wait on you. No slaves there.
No slaves, right? Because everybody is a slave. In the military system, there's no slaves. Right? That's what everybody that's scared of the Jews and what they're doing is like they're scared of becoming a slave. And they don't understand how your slavery would look like. It's like, what will your slavery look like? You know, you think you're going to be waiting hand and foot, putting grapes in some Jewish guy's mouth somewhere? That's not what they mean by slavery. What they mean by slavery is either you're part of one of these class structures. Either you're part of the military or you're over here cleaning up shit as part of the military, because there's nothing else but the military. Everything's owned by the military. But the military doesn't look like the military anymore. The military looks like Kellogg. The military looks like IBM. The military looks like Google. The military looks like, Amazon. People don't see that it's the military. They just see these brand names. That's what fascism is. Fascism is when you have these corporate structures enact certain policies and get you to go down certain lines of activity that are basically militaristic. They regiment and control your thought and what it is that you can and cannot do or say, but they do it via the platform that you exist on or the plane of existence that you exist on. Okay? Now, in the physical world, that's going to look like these people everywhere. Donald Trump is calling for him now. Man, if they would have had maybe some armed guard in that synagogue, then maybe, the police are so good. The police, the SWAT, you know how good they are. They did a really good job. He doesn't say anything about like the beliefs. No, because you know why? Because they need those beliefs. They need people to have that mindset of being, kill all the Jews or kill all certain people, kill some sort of group of people. They need people with that type of mindset because they don't want people to, in the USSR, they want you to be indiscriminate. They want you to think about killing people indiscriminately, meaning that if they look a certain way or act a certain way, then they are a certain way, and therefore you can, turn into Judge Dredd and kill people, without any due process. You're the judge, jury, and executioner on the street. These people will be the judge, jury, and executioner on the street. That's why I put Judge Dredd in my videos. You have to understand the depth of what DC Comics was trying to explain to you with Judge Dredd. They're trying to tell you that we can get to a point where you don't need to do due process because you're going to have their judge, your jury, and an executioner all in the form of one of these enlisted soldiers, which is a violation of posse comitatus. And that's what's another funny thing. I started this talking about TYT, and TYT was, talking about how posse comitatus needs to be enacted to, keep these soldiers from going down to the border and stopping these migrants. It's like, exactly. Exactly. That's what you need. Posse comitatus would prevent these people from being able to go to our border as an armed force. I think he's trying to send 5,200 troops to the border right now. Well, posse comitatus would stop them. Alex Jones used to talk about posse comitatus all the time. How, we need to, make sure that there can be no standing army on our soil in this country. It's against our law. It's against posse comitatus. Now you have the left actually calling for posse comitatus. Isn't that amazing? But then again, you on the opposite end, you have the right, the people that are pro-Constitution, calling for the ending of the Constitution to stop these migrants, the invaders, the bugs, in the brain bug George Soros. You see how it's crazy? It's crazy how they get people to want to join the military or give somebody some cause to fight for. So they'll tear down their any notion of freedom to do it. That's why they create these situations. That's why they put people into dire straits to make them desperate to send them somewhere on a fucking caravan. Because they want to set up systems. They need people to agree with those systems. It needs to be by consent. And so here we are. I don't care about, like, you know, the news every damn day. Some people get lost in the damn news. I'm like, what are these people setting the fuck up? Why is this part of that system? How is this working towards their end goal? And then I'm just like, I could work backwards from that goal. I could see how it all fits together because I got the fact that these people want to set up this Fabian socialism. They talked about it 100 years ago. Go read Bertrand Russell. Go read anybody. Go read any fucking read Hitler. Read the Fourth Reich by Tex Mars. That's another good one. Where he talks about how the Hitler actually what does he say? He puts it like this way. He puts it like the Germans lost the war, but the Nazis won the war. They straight up won the war. They went all over the planet. They didn't lose. It's just people think that because Germans is equivalent with Nazis, that, you know, these actual Nazis, these actually people in their ideology succeeded. This is why you have a person like Trump. Yeah, he's literally part of those families. So is George Bush. You know, these banking families that help these people out. But, you know, that'll skirt by people, or people will exaggerate that, or they'll excuse that because it just sounds fucking hyperbolic. It sounds like you're going too far. There's no way that could be real. It's like, you have no freaking clue. You really don't. And then they wonder why people like Bolsonaro or Duterte or Putin or any of these other dictators are all joining hands together, because they all kind of agree. They're all on the same wavelength. They all got the same ideology. Oppress the masses, make sure they're all slaves, and they work for industry. And how do you keep those masses down? You create police states, or create a need for a police state, and you make people soldiers. You pay them for their services of being the enlisted forces. And here we go.
Officers do have beneficiarii to take care of them, but the enlisted men take care of all of their own stuff. Everybody has to contribute to the camp. Some people have to learn how to work with leather. Some people learn to be blacksmiths. Some people are cooks. Some people have to take care of the horses. They become stratores. We need the record keepers. We need the people called metatores, who know how to lay out camps when we move the camp. We need speculatores. We need people to go out and keep track of where the enemy are.
Yeah, this is all stuff the IDF does, right? This is all those jobs. You do those jobs right now. But it's under the umbrella of the monetary system, which you know who controls. Okay? So all these elements exist in the same sense because they all exist underneath the umbrella of the monetary system. That's it. There's nothing else. So you thinking about how you're going to fight these people? I'm just like, yeah, there's no way you can fight something that you don't understand. No way. Not in terms of your day-to-day life. That's why I think like people like Nikki Rapana clock out. They just get out. They're like, fuck this. I'm going to go live in Alaska, and I'm going to live on the land because I don't want to be part of this system. But this is the thing. They're going to make the system pretty damn comfortable. Okay? They're going to make your servitude comfortable. But then if you don't go along with your indentured servitude, then they get to kill you. That's what Bertrand Russell said. It's like if people are, you know, acting up and they're not helpful to the society, they get delisted off the internet. They get demonetized. And they become nothing. Or if they just don't like you, they'll probably frame your ass. But, you know, there's a lot of people that can, you know, do good right now. So they keep a lot of people alive. Let me see. But we need all these jobs fulfilled, man. This is what I said. Universal basic jobs equals universal basic income. It's not one or another. It's not either universal basic income or nothing. It's universal basic income, and they sell it to you by telling you you're going to get universal basic jobs. Military jobs. Jobs policing each other. Because people can't stop fighting. Because people recognize their differences. They think their differences are important. And they need to be maintained. And a constant struggle. The constant struggle of our differences. Fucking crazy.
Very
man.
well, you say I'm not real talented. We've got a job for you anyway. Because we got a lot of horses in each camp. And horses, you know, you put food in one end and something comes out of the other end. Stercolinum, somebody needs to shovel a stercolinum. So you can always become an excellent stercolinum shoveler. We need people to dig.
Who wants to be a stercolinum shoveler, man? Who wants to be a shit shoveler? You want to shovel some shit? We got a job for you, man. I don't know, you might be low IQ, but there's a job for you. It's called stercolinum shoveler. Oh man. There's horses everywhere. There's all these horses with their carbon dioxide, methane, fart shit, and we need you to clean it up. It's for the green job economy, right? Keeping Earth green. Oh man.
To build, do carpentry work. You're going to learn a trade, and it'll be something that you can use after you retire from the Army. We're going to develop your mind and your body. And when you're done, you're going to be men. You're going to be part of the greatest fighting force the world has.
And that's why another thing, if people talked about Project Bluebeam and how they would need some outside force for people to come to their humanity, something that's not human for people to fight up against, to join together. Like, I don't want to see whatever type of alien these motherfuckers plan on rolling out. But you guys see those, like, those rockets that fly up in the sky at night sometimes, you know, on the flat Earth dome? Those damn rockets. What do they call it? Rockets break atmosphere or something. I don't know what the name of the videos are, but I seen them real life, you know, in person, first person. Oh, rockets break atmosphere. I'm not talking about these things. This shit right here. Have you guys seen these? I've seen this stuff happen, like, in life. Like, yeah, man. Those the aliens, man. They're coming. Coming to get you to join the army. Get you to join Starship Troopers, the Rangers. But, you know, they get people accustomed to this idea without that. You know, they get people accustomed to the other, the outsider. So they'll join in with this military force. It works every time. Every time. Here we go.
You're going to be Roman legionnaires.
Yeah.
It's a lie to say that if we had basic income security, we would become lazy. On the contrary, it will release the energies, the dynamism inside ourselves and inside our communities. But we need basic security for a more fundamental reason, which is why elites and the rich are suddenly listening to this debate. If we don't have basic security, part of the precariat, the less educated part, not you in this room, but many people, will listen to the sirens of populism.
Oh, yeah. Who do we have? He did this talk in 2015. So he's like warning. He's like, hey, you're going to have the siren of populism. You're going to have a Trump. You're going to have, you know, a Bolsonaro. And people are going to listen to people that speak their language. He says the less educated people. And they think that Israel did like a study on Trump supporters and how they're like really low IQ people. Duh. Look at these motherfuckers, man. The Trump supporters are the dumbest people who think are like they're geniuses. And because I guess they have a certain skin color that allots them a few extra IQ points, they you know, are entitled to, I guess. It's just fucking ridiculous, the shit they say. But he was like saying it's because they're poor. Because they feel like, you know, they are owed something, that's why. Because you know, if you're part of the, you look like the established higher ups in society, therefore you deserve what it is that you don't have. So you'll take anybody who sells you a whole bunch of bullshit, sells you snake oil, a con man like Donald Trump. Now, somebody was like leaving a comment on my video earlier, like saying like, I think it was somebody that watched one of my videos a long time ago. It was like saying that Donald Trump's a Jewish puppet. It's like, he was like, who sounds like that I remember? I was like, yeah, who sounds like that? Because I say Donald Trump's a puppet. He's not only a Jewish puppet. He can't technically be a Jewish puppet because none of these people are technically Jews. They just call themselves Jews. But yeah, he is their puppet, technically. These people that call themselves Jews. Of a religion they don't know where it came from. The Sabians. I talk about this, the Sabians. That's where actual Judaism comes from. Old South Arabian language that lived in Southern Arabian Peninsula, Kingdom of Saba. Identify with the biblical land of Sheba. But that's for another day, man. I don't know. What can I say? That's amazing what Wikipedia does. It's just people don't know how to look for certain questions and to ask certain questions, so they know what they know, man. They know what people tell them. David Icke wrote a good passage about, like, you know, how we pass down our knowledge of ourselves through our parents and how, like, we can never really go beyond what our parents teach us and tell us. And I thought it was a really good idea. Good explanation. Anyways, let me read your comments because it's been like a fucking hour since I read comments. Does anybody support Siren something? Hold on, let me read your shit. Dante, get infrared goggles. What is that gonna do? Wake up Q-tards. Q-tards? Jesus, man. I did something on Q, or I left a comment somewhere in Q and what Q is. It's like this has to do with like Mark versus, like, was it Mark versus Luke, what came first? And it was called Quelle, or Q in German is Quelle, and it means the source. And so we're looking at, you know, these German interpreters of the Bible. But let me say Q source. Type in Q S-O-U-R-C-E. This is what Q is. Q has to do with the Bible. Q is a hypothetical written collection of primary... Oh, where'd it go? Fuck. Hypothetical written collection of primarily Jesus' sayings, right? Q is a part of the common material found in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke, but are not in the Gospel of Mark. According to this hypothesis, this material was drawn from the early church's oral tradition. Along with the Markan priority, Q was hypothesized by 1900 and is one of the foundations of most modern Gospel scholarship. B.A. Streeter formulated a widely accepted view of Q that it was written in Koine Greek, that most of its contents appear in Matthew, in Luke, or in both, and that Luke more often preserves the text original order than Matthew. In the two-source hypothesis, the three-source hypothesis, and the Q plus Papias hypothesis, Matthew and Luke both use Mark and Q as sources. Okay? So Q's like this unknown source that gives them all this information about what should appear in these Gospels. Pretty interesting, right? Isn't that kind of like what Q-tards do? They're like, I know the source. They're telling me that this is connected to this, and this is connected to this. That's why I know that this is this. It's logical positivism. It's bullshit. It's people spinning up bullshit in their heads to rationalize events that aren't connected to make them feel connected. And so it can feel connected. And if it feels connected, it's just as real as actually being connected. So that's what they do. And that happened in the Bible. It happened. It's literally called Q because that's the Germans called it. and Donald Trump's German. Okay, so it's bullshit. It's bullshit, and they knew exactly what they were doing when they set up Q. It's just a way for people to rationalize their support for Donald Trump, even in the midst of seeing him do all kinds of dumbass, globalist, lying, fornicating, porn star fucking, this dumb shit, they will say it's all because it's better than the fucking deep state and Hillary Clinton. It's like, no, it is him. It is him. He's evil. Duh. But if you fucking scream and you cry and you paint your hair green or you wear pussy hats, then you're even more discredited. At least he's wearing a suit. At least he has somewhat nice hair or something. At least he is making the economy great. At least he got us out of the Paris Climate Accord in 2020. At least he did this. It's just rationalizations. So this happened in the Bible for people to, like, you know, basically map out any sort of discrepancies that they might have appeared in the Bible. Why does the Bible have replications? You know, there's a entire, I posted a video on how, I forgot his name. He was this Arabic dude, and he was basically breaking down how the Bible has 2 duplicate passages. But you have people who will rationalize that. It's like, no, that means that this Bible is bullshit. Even in the King James Bible, it's bullshit. I don't care what y'all Christians think. It is straight up bullshit. Let me show you this video. Because that blew my mind. And I paid $60 for that damn King James version of the Bible, man. It's 1611 version of the Bible with the Apocrypha. And then I was like, wait, there's duplicate passages in this? Duplicates. It's like, yeah, because this shit's all copies. Copies of copies of copies. Meaning that once it got into the hands of whoever controlled these printing presses at the time, they were making copies of copies, and they made fucking mistakes. But people say, no, the Bible's infallible. That was Jesus' doing. That was Q. Like, no, motherfucker. It wasn't. It really wasn't. This is all bullshit. All of it. I'm not saying there isn't good lessons in there, but I'm saying what it's being used for and what they use it for is bullshit. They use it because this is how they convert people to their ideologies. Turn the other cheek. They beat your ass in. Turn the other cheek. Give them the other fucking ass to beat. Give them everything that you own because they are, you know who. Where is it? Where is it going to find? I don't know. I was looking for a video on my channel. Like I said, I've been up since 3 in the morning, so I'm tired. I'm surprised I haven't lost any subscribers. Nobody's gotten pissed off at me enough to unsubscribe. Usually happens when I go live and I start saying stuff that pisses people off. But yeah, where's that video? Since a lot of people don't watch my older videos, I gotta like kind of do these to like steer people into like some of the older stuff, because they're also different. It was about the Bible. Where was it? Oh yeah, it was this one. Watch this video. It's only seven minutes. Why is King James 2 Kings 10, or was it what? 2 Kings? I don't know.
These pins that I have, pins. Now to show you,
this guy is Ahmed Deedat. I had some guy, he was a Muslim buddy of mine, and he was converted to Islam, but he tried to convince me to watch this guy, and I watched him, and he blew my mind. It's like, he honestly blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm not going to become a Muslim, man. I told him, I was like, dude, I'm religious, but I don't believe in the religions. And so he respected that. But I was like, yeah, this fits into my narrative, what I'm trying to, use to figure out the world. How I'm understanding how the Bible was constructed in some context. Because I don't look at the Bible and be like, yeah, this is the absolute truth. Not me. Hell no. Everybody else can do that if they want to. Not me. I know that my mind works, and it's critically thinks. So anyways, this is pretty amazing. Why are there duplicate passages in the KJV? Plagiarism?
you that these twins are not really twins. These are not identical. There is some deception here. They are identical on the face of it. I don't know whether the pastor would like to cooperate. I would like him to open, if he pleases, if he will help me. Otherwise, I have to call somebody from the audience. If you will help me, this book here, Isaiah chapter 37. If you'll only open Isaiah 37. No, this one here. These are twins. We want to compare the twins to see how they are deceiving the Christian world, how they produce this by the millions and deceive the ordinary people. I just want to demonstrate that, and I would like him to help me with this one, sir. This is the Holy Bible, Revised Standard Version. Just open Isaiah 37, and I'll read from here and see whether it is the same. That's all. If you will, sir.
Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just open it. No, just open it. Just have a look, sir, while I'm reading. Just have a look whether I'm reading correctly. Isaiah 37.
This is amazing what he does. Amazing.
Which verse?
From verse 1, sir. So we don't have to search. 37. Isaiah. Got it, sir? Verse 1. When King Hezekiah heard it, he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the Lord. Correct, sir?
Yes, I'm following.
Yes. And went into the house of the Lord, and he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna the secretary, and the senior priest covered with sackcloth to the prophet Isaiah the son of Amos. Verse 3. They said to him, thus says Hezekiah, this day is a day of distress, of rebuke, and of disgrace. Children have come to the birth, and there is no strength to bring them forth. It may be that the Lord your God heard all the words of Rabshakeh, whom his master, the king of Assyria, has sent to mock the living God. And go on to verse 8. The Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria fighting, and going on to verse 14, Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the messengers and read it, and Hezekiah, and on, word for word the same.
Yes.
But sir, I'm not reading from the book of Isaiah, I'm reading from the book of Kings.
He's like, yeah. Notice how he acknowledges the problem. He's reading from Isaiah 37, and Ahmad Didat is reading from the book of Kings. They're reading the same passage in two different gospels, in two different books of the Bible. They're reading the same passage, as if one was copied directly from one to the other. It was literally a direct copy. They didn't change a single word. They just took one passage out of context and placed it into a different context. I was like, oh man, this guy ruined the Bible for me, man. He ruined the damn Bible for me. That's when I started looking into what the Bible was and who created it, where it traveled to, where all like the Codex Alimentarius and the Codex Sinaiticus traveled to. Yeah, it went from Russia to Germany. Then the British owned it. Man, it was crazy. Yeah, these people have been fucking with the Bible for centuries. Why? Because they needed to use to control people's minds, to get them to adopt certain principles that might not actually be good principles, but they need it to have you do like what's his name was trying to tell you to do. What's his name? Amitai Etzioni. Good old Amitai Etzioni. What did he say?
People use it. On the other hand, people use it. On the other hand, there is a very large number of people hold, as you'll see when I spell it out, hold communitarian ideas. You'll find them in the Old Testament, you find them in the New Testament, you find them in Confucius, you find them in Fabian socialism,
Yeah, people hold communitarian ideas. They have in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, in Fabian socialism, in Confucianism. And I've talked about Confucianism before, but Confucianism is basically Islamic law. It's just like a system of moral values. That's all it is. Read Confucius, the 4 books. Spend some time looking into that. It's amazing. I like the way it's worded. It breaks pretty much all the law down into like everything Stefan Molyneux says is right there in the 4 books of Confucius. The same whole family dynamics, how to keep a family tight knit, and how the family unit, you know, relates to a larger society or community unit. It's all there in the 4 books on Confucianism. And then you have to understand, like, that's what, you know, China's set up to be right now. Neo-Confucianist. That's what the kind of system they have. But what is it? It's freaking communism. Okay? That's what it is. That's funny. You got this Israeli terrorist telling you that, oh, communitarianism. Yeah, it's Fabian socialism. It's in the New Testament. It's in the Old Testament. No, it's Confucianism. Yeah, it is straight up communism. Communism is a principle, not communism like what people think of communism. I think people think of communism, they think of like the military units that are coming down and crashing on and stomping in your head. No, that's the militaristic aspect of the communism. That's the Fabian socialist part, the Fabius part. There's going to be the militarist aspect. The communist aspect is the you singing Kumbaya and you drugged out of your mind on your Brave New World Soma. That's the part that I think people are scared of. The part where you have universal basic income. It's like they don't want that, but you'll want that if they can give you or show you something worse. If they could show you what it's like to have no money and have a military. They'll show you something worse than that if, you know, if they want to. But anyways, I gotta get the fuck going. What are you guys saying? I'll read your damn chats. What is the name of that? What is the name of what video? Hold on. What's up, Dave Conrad? What's the name of that video? What video? CIA. Yeah, learn from Lenin. These Leninists. Leninists. Damn Leninists. Oh, you're proud, boy, Leninists. Oh, man, this is so crazy. It's like, and then you people know, you see Faith Goldie, you see the Proud Boys, you see Dugan, you see all these people going on Alex Jones. But what do you think they're doing there? What do you think they're talking to? You think they're just shilling, they really they don't care about white people. They're just working with the Jews to destroy white people. It's like, no, man, that's nothing. That narrative is so tired to me. Like, that is not what's happening. That's not why you go against Faith Goldie or you go against Alex Jones or Dugan. That's not what they're doing. They're not trying to screw up shit for white people. They're trying to screw up shit for everybody. By supporting Donald Trump or getting you guys convinced to support anything that this fucking fascist dude does. And people can convince themselves that fascism is a good idea too, because in principle it sounds like, hey, yeah, we work together to a common end to defeat our enemies. That's good. It sounds great, right? But y'all exist on the same planet. So if everybody has that idea, that's called universal ethnic cleansing. So it's not a good idea. With peace, there can be no peace without war, says Fabius. And that's just, a metaphor, but look at what the Romans did. I mean, come on. Ugh. Anyways, go name the Jew, people. Name the Jew.